Oh, come here.
I'm about to start, so.
Come here.
Now we're on.
There he is.
But I've taken stuff in.
We still have one more person that just drove up, Joe. I'm not sure who it is, but that
Probably Beth.
should make us on quorum, I think.
Didn't look like that?
That's no. So-
Sounds good. Yep. If it's Beth, then we'll have a quorum once she gets here. So wonderful.
Could be Zach. Could be Zach.
Could be Zach. Could be Zach.
Who is it? It's Zach.
It's Zach. I thought your Beth would be here because
Oh,
She didn't want to hear my presentation.
Do you want to wait a few more minutes or go ahead and start?
Joe, what do you think, Joe?
I got 7:04. Let's go with about 7:06. Give her 2 minutes because we have a quorum, so we don't need to wait too long. But I know she was at the meeting Monday. Did indicate she was going to miss the meeting. So
Nope, she's planning on being here.
did you know that the Puyallup Fair has its own song?
Are you going to sing it for us?
Not right now. He needs to actually look at his thing, otherwise I would have. I'll wait till afterwards.
Is there some hidden comment in here or something?
If there is, I didn't do it.
Oh, glasses? Something in code?
Hmm?
Or something in code or something?
No. The question of whether or not I'm gonna sing the Puyallup Fair's theme song.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't see that on the agenda.
No, it's not on the agenda.
well, it's 7:06. So whenever you're ready to start, we have everything all ready.
Okay,
That clock's wrong. It is 7:06.
all right. It is now 7:06, and I call the Tanton Planning Commission meeting for July 9th, 2026 to order. Roll call. Commissioner Kuhn.
Here,
Commissioner Harrison. Present. Commissioner Timmons. Commissioner Jones, I'm here. We have a quorum. We don't have a quorum. We do have a quorum, sorry. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Public see noticed.
I so move.
Do you have a second? I second. Vote? Yes.
Yes.
Approved. Okay. Are there any citizen comments? Is there anybody online other than you, Joe? Nope, can't hear you.
I'm the only person online, so nobody online for our citizen comments.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the city manager's report, building permit issued, and prior month's meeting minutes?
Okay. I move to adopt the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
And we'll have a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda is approved. It is 7:07?
709.
7:09? Okay, and I call the public hearing to order. This is to hear recommendations to present to the Tangent City Council to forward 3 development code changes to the voters in the November general election. Each development code will be separate ballot measure on the November 3 election. Are there any ex parte contacts, conflicts of interest, or any bias to be declared by the member of the Planning Commission? Does any participant wish to review any disclosure or lack of disclosure on the part of the Planning Commissioners? May we please have a staff report?
Good evening, everyone. Staff have prepared proposed text amendments to the Tangent Development Code for inclusion on this year's ballot. These text amendments can be found throughout various sections of the code, but relate to the following 3 ballot measures: mobile food units in parks, pre-application conferences, and official site plans. For mobile food units in parks, the proposed code amendments will establish regulations within the city of Tangent to regulate mobile food units and mobile food parks within city limits. Mobile food units and food parks can provide opportunities for small-scale business opportunities, create unique eating establishments and community gathering spaces, and invigorate underutilized sites. The proposed amendments provide definitions for mobile food units and food parks, establish separate application procedures for each, and create regulations on location and use standards. By definition, a mobile food unit is any trailer, cart, vehicle, wagon, or similar object which is used for the purpose of preparing, processing, and/or converting food to be sold to the ultimate consumer through a drive-in, drive-through, curbside, or walk-up service. A mobile food park consists of 5 or more mobile food units operating on the same legal parcel or lot. The proposed amendments would allow mobile food units as a permitted use within the RM6 and CC, which is community commercial zoning districts, and establish mobile food parks as a conditional use, which requires a conditional use permit and site plan approval within the RM6, community commercial, and highway commercial industrial zoning districts. In addition to establishing where these uses may be located, the proposed regulations establish operational standards intended to protect public health, safety, and welfare. These standards address licensing requirements, operating hours, wastewater disposal, utility connections, maintenance, parking, and location restrictions. Further, the amendments establish separate application procedures for individual mobile food units, which will be a simple application form prepared by the city, and mobile food parks, which would have greater impacts on sites and adjacent properties, therefore requiring site plan review. And we did have some questions at the town hall on Monday regarding sort of temporary versus more permanent individual mobile food units. So I did go ahead and look at some other jurisdictions in Oregon and see that do have regulations for mobile food units and see what they do in terms of this. So I'll just provide that information that was not included at the time of preparing the staff report. So in Jefferson, mobile food unit permits are required for any mobile food unit that operates outside of a pod for more than 2 consecutive days, and they can't be there for more than 60 consecutive calendar days and no more than 120 total calendar days. Oregon City, they have what's called transitory mobile food units and non-transitory mobile food units. Transitory remain on a property for 5 hours or less in a 24-hour period and no more than 3 on site at a time. And then non-transitory is more than 5 hours, and they are required to provide more or meet more development standards. They have to screen all their equipment, connect to permanent water source, public sewer, and permanent power which is essentially some of the requirements that our mobile food parks would have to do. The City of Tiger, they do not have any standards for temporary versus permanent mobile food units, so that's similar to what is proposed in the Tangent Code. Happy Valley has mobile food units on site for less than 2 hours in any 24-hour period are exempt from any permitting requirements. Sweet Home does something similar where mobile food units on a site for no more than 3 days with any 30-day period are exempt from permitting. And in Gresham, mobile food units are required to obtain a permit if on site for more than 4 hours in any one day. So there's not really one way you can go about doing this. I essentially found from this research that there are a different number of ways if you wanted to consider recommending to City Council establishing some type of time regulation that would require a more simple application versus more permanent standards. But those are just different ways that other jurisdictions in Oregon have been doing it that have mobile food cart regulations. And typically we also see that mobile food units that are operating as part of an approved special event do not require a permit. What the issue that I could foresee with that in the City of Tangent is that there's no regulations within the development code for special events. So essentially, what constitutes a special event? You could possibly have something here, some type of event here at the city park, and that may be a big community special event versus someone having a wedding on their property. And to them, that's a special event. So without having any type of definition for special event or any sort of regulations for special events, I don't know how you could incorporate that directly into the code, because in other cities I've seen that they do have provisions for getting special event permits. So that was just something else that I was thinking of. And another item that was brought up at the town hall on Monday was insurance, and that can simply be required as part of the application form. I don't think you need to make that as a requirement within the development code itself, but that is another consideration as well. The second ballot measure item is pre-application conferences. The proposed code amendments simplify and clarify the city's pre-application process by removing the separate pre-application consultation in section 2.110, which is redundant, and consolidating all pre-application requirements into a single section governing these conferences in section 2.120. The revised language establishes that pre-application conferences are required for all applications subject to a quasi-judicial or legislative decision, while remaining optional for all other application types. The amendments clarify the procedures and timing for scheduling pre-application conferences, establish application submittal requirements, and require a new pre-application conference if that application is not submitted within 1 year from that pre-application conference date. Consolidating these provisions into a single section provides a more consistent and clear-cut process for both applicants and city staff. What we find, and I mentioned this at the town hall as well for those that were there, but when you have someone who attends a required pre-application conference, they typically are going to provide a more complete application and be more aware of the timeline process for their development project. Sometimes we'll see people who come in with an application and think that they're going to start construction the next week. And that's simply not the case when you have land use applications involved. So that pre-application conference sort of sets them up for realistically what their timelines are going to be and what that process is going to be. The third ballot measure is official site plans. So the proposed code amendments change the provisions for official site plans and conditional use plans. Under the current code, revisions or modifications to an approved site plan or approved conditional use must follow the same application procedure as the original approval. This can become costly and time-consuming for the applicant of an already approved project, especially when the modifications may only be minor changes. So these amendments would allow certain modifications that are in substantial conformance with the previously approved plan or conditional use to be exempt from going back through the site plan review or conditional use process at the discretion of the city manager, provided that certain criteria are met, and those proposed criteria are within the code itself. Such modifications can be reviewed and approved at the time of building permit application or through submittal of a city-created form. Per state law, these proposed amendments were posted in the meeting agenda packet, which was posted at least 48 hours before the Plan Commission meeting. A notification was sent to DLCD on June 4th, which was at least 35 days prior to the first hearing before the planning commission tonight. For a legislative action, the planning commission must make a recommendation to city council based on the approval criteria in Tangent Development Code section 2.700 subsection 2, which is included in your packet. And then the city council will vote on whether or not the proposed code amendments will move forward to the election ballot this fall. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, for the first one, with the idea of special events, the Harvest Festival is definitely already a special
Right.
event that has food trucks. And evidently Mercy said there are going to be a dozen of them there this year. Yeah, so how is that going to apply? Or do we just simply kind of skip by it because we're saying we don't have anything?
Well, yeah, it's currently unregulated, right?
Yeah,
It is, right now, it's all unregulated.
yeah.
Joe, do you have an idea of moving forward of what we could possibly do with special events?
One idea I was thinking of, we do have in our municipal code, our code of ordinance, a business license section, but it regulates just restaurants that they have to have meet all the health standards from the county. I'm gonna check with Dan and see if we could put something about like for special events and for the mobile food trucks, just short term, and get back to you. That's one idea I'm thinking of. As for the Harvest Festival, right now, since we don't have a defined term, I don't see that being an issue. If we do check with Dan, we will keep that in mind about the Harvest Festival, so that way the election won't be until afterwards, but any sort of permit for special events, the council, of course, assuming we could go through the development code, the municipal code, the council and probably the planning commission will be given an update, because that would be a significant change.
Okay, how about the farmer's market? Is that out of our city? Is that out of our city limits, actually?
Correct, yes, the farmer's market's outside the city limits.
Okay, so we don't have any controls over that, okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
because it's my understanding that, let's say this was already in effect, this code update, they wouldn't be able to have more than 4 on the site for the Harvest Festival without having that conditional use and site plan approval for that particular site for a mobile food park. Because once you hit the 5, it becomes a mobile food park,
Yeah.
even if it's just for a day, because we don't really have that distinction in there.
And I think that that's important to include that distinction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is
Either
why I brought it up.
Right.
48 or 72 hours,
Yeah.
right? Anything less. Sweet Home does the 3 days, I assume, because Jamboree was 3 days.
So for clarification is necessary for the commissioners to understand the proposal, staff questions should generally be held until commission's deliberations at the close of the public hearing. Do you have any other questions for staff?
Joe, I have one more question for you.
Yeah,
Since I've never worked somewhere where it has to go to the voters, at what point can we no longer make any modifications to the language? Is it once city council approves it? Are they still able to make modifications before it goes to the ballot?
so the way will be the ballot, we would have it where there's the language to go into development code, but then whatever process and application, we could do that, after it has been submitted to the ballot. As long as there's no major change, but that's why with the mobile food special event, I feel confident. Assuming Dan agrees that that could be part of general code, we could still move forward with at least these code of recommendations. So I could try to get an update, since we're all going to be at the city council meeting on Monday together. I could try to have an update for everybody.
That sounds good.
Did the city receive any written comments before tonight's meeting?
No written comments. Oh, go ahead.
I was just also saying that I have not received any.
You have not either, okay.
All right.
The public hearing is hereby closed, and now I call for deliberation and any questions commissioners may have for staff. Following the deliberation, the commission may make its decision or continue the hearing to gather additional evidence, consider the application more fully or for other reasonable purposes. Does the commission wish to make the decision tonight or to continue the hearing to a specific time and date?
Asking me.
Yeah, we're the commission.
Well, we gotta deliberate a little bit first.
Yeah.
We'll deliberate, let's deliberate a little bit, yeah. The other two, to me, are not any issues, it's just food, trying to get defined on the food cart thing.
Yeah,
The other ones are just, at least that's what I see.
it's housekeeping.
Yes.
Yeah, the pre-application being consolidated into a single section,
Makes so much
That's-
sense, yeah.
that doesn't have anything to deliberate about.
Yeah.
And the,
The minor changes too.
right,
Yeah.
there's a whole list of minor changes.
With the idea of having a food truck move around, locals, the donut truck,
The one that parks at the By Martin Albany, yeah.
yeah. That's there on and off, and generally people are lining up probably because they're for, maybe for about 4 hours, which is what you were saying
Yeah,
somebody did.
they're there till they sell out and then they leave,
Yeah,
That's right.
and they always sell out.
yeah,
Different cities have different rules. Some of them have the no more than so many days in a calendar year rule.
mm-hmm,
I think that seems excessive to me, but somebody might try to take advantage of it, I suppose.
well, it's the idea of, you know, say you move, one day, every 6 months and say, I'm mobile. No, not really. You are now there pretty permanently.
Right.
And that's, I think, kind of the point of saying that you have to only do it a certain number of days, and it can only, you know where I'm going with that.
I do,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't even know there was one in Happy Valley.
They have the provisions, I don't know if there's an actual
If
food
there
truck
actually
there.
is one.
That might have been a way to try and get.
Yeah, we lived in Selwood, so we did most of our shopping in Happy Valley. I wouldn't notice.
Lisa, I'm taking down the meeting minutes. Did you say it was a donut truck?
I'm sorry?
Did you say it was a donut
Okay.
truck that shows up?
Yes,
Of
locals.
Of locals.
So that would apply to the
Locals.
city of Albany. And so I don't know what their rules are. As Zach said, they go in front of the Bi-Mart, the corner of Clay and Santiam, right across from Freddy's.
Thank you.
They also have the Ugly Dough Pizza that goes all over Albany. That's another food truck that's like locals.
Yeah,
I can pull up all the.
The very first farmer's market, Ugly Dough was at it.
Mhm. See, we've got application procedure, Joe, but there's no time frame. So someone said they could come in that day and file the paperwork, to get permission. I think we should figure out
So
some way
really
to have 24 hours or 48 hours prior to the event. Or prior to them, trying to land and do this, sell their stuff. The way it's right now, it just says, there's a procedure, but nothing that says timeline. It just says, fill out a form.
Yeah, so the form will have the timeline, just similar to how we lay out the groundwork. Because if, let's just say we make it on the development code, 24-hour process, that might be convenient. But if we, for some reason, say, hey, we want to change it to 48 hours because staff need more time, we would need to ask the voters to change the time compared to if we just allowed the form to dictate the time, and then the staff could modify as needed.
Right, thank you for, yeah, okay, got it. That's what it is, yeah.
Not a problem. Great question.
Specific kind of stuff in the code. Gotcha, thank you.
I can't find anything where Albany is regulating their food carts other than their best management practices for waste. So I don't know if they've adopted a code regarding mobile food.
They do not have.
They have quite a few parks.
Well, they've got two, and then Millersburg has one by the Love's truck stop. It's got like 4 or 5.
AI says you must obtain an MFU authorization, which is $100, and a mobile food unit permit, which is $200 through the Albany Police Department. But
Well,
I don't see.
So we don't want to put that kind of stuff in the code then, as far as the specifics, as far as rates and stuff, permit rates.
Yeah, because that subject to change. 30 years from now, we'd be stuck having to vote on it.
Yeah,
Right. 2 years from now.
what the idea of how long the application must be approved by the city manager and the fire
Fire
district,
district, yeah.
which would definitely slow things down.
Yeah. So it could be done immediately.
Yeah.
But this is for the code.
This is for the code.
It's for the code, that's.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you have to put it in the code, but that's.
Right, but so in my mind, right, this procedure where the application procedure is talking about, you gotta get approval from the manager and the fire district. That's obviously, to me, for a semi-permanent or permanent installation,
That's a good point.
right? So all of that doesn't matter when we say 24-hour is exempted or 48 or whatever we choose. I recommend that we recommend something.
Yeah.
Because if we don't recommend anything,
Mhm.
then the council won't think about it and have it put in.
What sounds good? Which is
Yeah.
why we're both looking at you now.
Right, I see that,
Yeah.
and I'm actually,
We're deliberating.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying to
deliberating.
figure something else out that was, I just caught, that mobile food units may not sell, offer, provide, or in any way transfer, that's, why are we specifically saying marijuana in the code? Why would we specifically say that and not just say,
That's pretty standard language that you'll
Is it?
find throughout mobile food unit regulations in other cities.
Okay.
I think maybe that stems from having issues in the past.
okay,
Ooh,
Don't
edibles.
accidentally
yeah.
buy brownies that aren't just brownies.
Yeah.
right, okay,
But
yeah.
I think those are also regulated in certain locations.
Well, they are.
Yeah.
So,
So let's just not do that.
So just outright blanket,
Yeah.
that's a no-go.
Yeah.
It's not for public consumption anyway, so
Right.
you're already doing a lot of things wrong if you're doing that.
That's true. because the concern I have is we want to make sure the public will approve these standards as well, so. The city council's gonna say yes or yay or nay and put on the ballot, then we got hopefully the constituents will agree.
Oh, now that is actually an interesting question. How much of this is going to show up on the ballot? Is it going to be, I mean, I realize the actual, is this, when I say in the ballot, generally there's a voter's handbook, and will this entire thing appear in the voter's handbook?
Text.
The text, yes.
I think that's, I'm not sure. Joe, do you know? I would
Yeah.
assume
So for the text, it'll be language that the attorney will approve and will say, you know, will we allow to amend, and it'll have the certain number to accommodate a mobile food truck unit. So it won't be the full text of the language, but just, you know, more of a simple, shorter description.
Whole thing, yeah.
Then
Would
we
this
can
be
focus
in an appendix in the voter's pamphlet? Quite frequently, well, this is what we used to see, that you would have the short form, and then all of this would then be in an appendix at the back, so you could read exactly what you're actually voting on if you want to. Most people skip, but
like, I know it just depends on each ballot measure. For example, when we
Yeah.
put the last one, the full development code, we did not put the full development code. It was just, we want to amend the charter. Here is, we want to amend this section and, you know, a description of what it will do. And same with the TSP, it will ask to approve the TSP to update it, but we won't have the full TSP because it's like 300 pages.
yeah.
So it's something for the attorney to focus on, because along with a brief description of it, it has to be worded in a way where it's very easy for the common voter to understand. And we cannot hint like, you know, this will help the city, because we have to be neutral in the language.
Right. Okay. That, yeah, that was neither here nor there. It was more of a point of interest.
Okay, hereby call for a motion. Motion and second are needed to proceed to deliberations. If the motion does not get a second, up to 3 calls, the motion fails.
Okay, go back to the appropriate way to do this. Oh, okay. All right. I move to recommend approval of proposed tangent development code text amendments set forth in attachments A, B, and C to the city council.
Is there a second?
As written or with qualifier?
With qualifiers. Sorry, it wasn't, it wasn't on the.
I know.
Yeah, the word qualifiers, that's true. the
Thank
word.
you for reminding me.
Yes.
Should I do it again then?
I think you
Yeah.
need to say what that would be.
Yeah, the
Okay.
qualifiers would be, yes.
What are the qualifiers?
That's what we needed to deliberate, decide.
Yeah.
before we
Oh,
actually
so we
call for a
haven't actually
motion.
decided
We have
that
to
yet?
choose what we're gonna recommend.
Right.
Yes, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I jumped the gun there.
Well, we've still got 2 more strikes before we're out.
Right. Not sure we had any amendments to it.
Well, I think that we need to amend attachment A to include some sort of temporary usage. Do you agree?
Yes.
And what direction do you think that we should recommend that?
I kind of, the temporary usage, I'd say 1 day, 4 hours. Oh God, what were the different options again?
It could be anything we want it to be, but
Right.
there's a lot of choices.
There were a lot of choices, yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, some of them are already in here. It says mobile home parks may operate between the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. on weekends.
That's
So
just
that's operating hours.
general operating hour limits. You're
Right.
not required to operate that long, but
No.
you may not be serving tacos at 2 a.m.
True, but that's the operating hours that it can be selling.
Right. So it could exist for 24 hours and not be selling for more than 4. Are we going to make that distinction? Does it matter?
And selling tacos versus say a latte truck, which would probably be doing 8 a.m. Yeah,
Keep in mind when you're thinking about your timeline, like the Tangent Harvest Festival, if you ever had a farmer's market in your city limits, what those timeframes would look like so that you don't restrict it so much that you can't accommodate those type of things that are.
Right. We don't want to have to force everyone to permit that wants to park the night before because you've exceeded 48 hours,
that's true.
right? So do we want a 2-day target, a 1-day target, a 3-day target? Are we going to specify the hours, or are we going to say that under certain limit, it's exempt as temporary? Or exempt as event-based or something? My personal opinion is like 3 days or less, it's fine, as long as you don't violate the obvious rules.
And do the hours as stated.
Right, just because it's
Yeah.
temporary doesn't mean you get to serve tacos at 2 a.m. still.
No.
You still have to follow the same basic rules, you're just exempt from the things that we would hold a long-term establishment to. Anybody who's properly set up to run 1 or 2 day events usually has freshwater and gray water, black water tanks for that type of service without having any hookups.
True.
Some units can do both.
Okay, so we're back in the red. Oh, okay. Okay, so 3 days and the time stated in general standards 3/J. Okay, this would be on this page, section 6.1.
That's the standard operating hours.
So that's
yeah.
operating hours.
That's the standard operating hours.
Right.
That was for
Mhm.
J.
I don't know that we're required to go so far as to recommend what section it would be under, but I would think that it would fall under either 3L, or it would be 2A, where under applicability, it would say something to the effect of
There is no 3L.
He was making it up.
right.
Oh,
I
okay.
said it would be something added, it would be the 3L
Adding it,
or 2A,
okay. All right, I catch up eventually.
where we would define what we are gonna call temporary and what it is exempt from and what it isn't exempt from. So it'd be maybe.
It would likely go under section 2. subsection
So, if you have-
Yeah. That was what I would have assumed would be most likely. Um,
City limits of tangent.
and
Except
just,
as permitted.
yeah, and then
Right.
And then the subsection under that would be like, temporary mobile food units are subject to section 3 items A, B, and it would list which items it is subject to and which items it isn't subject to under the temporary designation. And it would define what that temporary designation is, whether it's 24, 48, 1 day, 2 day, whatever we want to call it. So it would have the language that says you still have to follow the good practices of not dumping wastewater, not selling marijuana. But it would potentially remove the approval of the fire department and the permitting, as long as you're already not violating some other rule by parking illegally or unsafely, then you don't need a review by the fire department.
And the unsafely thing, that's K. I'm really confused by the wording of K, 3K. Because it says mobile food units shall not be located within the required off-street parking space. If doing so would cause the site to fall below the minimum off-street parking requirements for the approved uses.
Oh,
So let's
so
say
So
you
where,
have
that's, so that,
the
that's in the code
multifamily,
somewhere.
I think it's relating to the multifamily use that was listed earlier.
It's relating, so if you, let's say you have a retail store and they have, per their square footage, they're required to have 5 parking spaces for their use. Let's say they only have 6 on the site and a mobile food unit wants to come in for the day, park there and take up 3 of the parking spaces. They
Mhm.
can't do that because there are 5 spaces that need to be designated for that existing use.
How would that, is there something in the code that we could show them that they're in violation?
This is why when you submit the mobile food unit application form,
Mhm.
one of the things is a site plan, like a very basic
Okay.
site plan. So that's something that we would review
Okay,
and make sure that they're meeting their minimum parking requirement.
gotcha.
So
So
that's one of the
that
things
would
that's
really
not-
matter for something that was a long term, but does it really matter for a single day? That's the,
Well,
what are we
that's-
calling
yeah,
temporary? and
well,
what
I've
are we-
seen them where they would park them right along the side, they're not in the street, they're in the parking lot, but they're right next to the sidewalk.
Mhm.
And they kind of almost block up the view of people trying to pull out of the driveway of the,
Right, and that's what the clear
Business.
vision area is in that same subsection. So if we don't have any provisions to check for that, even if it's just for a day or 2, that's
Mhm.
something that you might run into.
and that's being that, since we don't have a police activity and stuff, it's gonna be the public gonna have to try to run in here and say, hey, Joe, Jennifer, there's a truck there that's got things kind of blocked, and there are
Well,
100 people.
it's straight up just would not be approved for that position if it was a long term, which is important.
True.
For an event, I would think that people would be smarter than that.
No, they're
Probably not.
they're
You're right.
not, that's the thing, there could be somebody that says, hey, I'm temporary, I'm gonna try this to see how it works, and they're there, it's places that they're only taking one spot, okay, but they're now 100 cars driven up. Now what do you do?
Keep in mind, we have a code compliance officer with the city of Tangent who,
Right,
if we got calls that somebody was breaking those codes,
Mhm.
that's what we would do is,
okay,
and even if they're temporary, if they're breaking the codes, they'll stop that. That's why you are putting these codes in place.
Right.
okay.
And I will say, just from my, planning experience, when you're adding a completely new section of code for something that you've never had in your jurisdiction before, you can't really think of every single thing that could possibly happen up front. And sometimes it's just one of those things where you implement the code the best you can in the beginning, and then you see how it plays out, and then what's not working, you change in the future. And what is working, you can improve on. So that's also just my little tidbit.
And that's where we're trying to be a little more, making sure we try to cover the bases, because we have to go to the public for approval. It's not handled by the city council.
Yeah.
Or the planning commission. So we gotta make sure we try to cover as much as possible, because you can just write some code, boom, 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 and do it.
Right.
And somebody gets in violation, they complain about it, and, oh, okay, yeah, we'll just rewrite the code a little bit to make it a little more friendly. We don't have that opportunity.
A little less flexible.
Yeah, so that's why we're trying to cover as much bases as possible. So going back to, do I have a motion and a second needed?
We still gotta decide what we're still deliberating.
Deliberating, okay, gotcha.
Do you have a preferred?
That one was just, I just wanted to find out what that was, and she gracefully answered the question about the parking issue.
And we all pretty solidly agree on B and C. So it's only A, which is the food trucks, that we might want to amend
Right, yeah, B and C are fine.
versus as written.
Yeah, B and C as written.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Is the city council going to be able to change what we are doing on,
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would assume so, yeah.
yeah,
So you guys are making the recommendation. to
we're
the
making a
city council.
recommendation, but the odds are they're gonna mess around with it too.
Maybe.
They might look at it and say that it looks great.
Right?
Yeah,
And they want like maybe clarifications on what we decided.
yeah,
What we decided, so that's why they want it to be a joint
Right.
meeting on Monday.
And
right.
I think you could also, if you can't land on something, you may be able to make a recommendation with some like blanket language, like with provisions, with the addition of provisions for temporary versus.
Right, we just have to agree to something.
Right, that's
So that would just give them your recommendation with this consideration that has,
Jill?
So one suggestion, if you want, you can make a motion approving B and C right now, vote on that, and then come back to A tonight, make a motion to approve A, and then make amending motions for each provision, if that helps, just since it sounds like B and C, everyone seems to be set on.
That's true.
That is true, it's valid.
Yeah.
I think we're close, really close though. If you feel like we need something specific, we can say something specific. If you just want to say a provision for temporary use, then we can say that.
On Monday, are we going to be able to actually address the city council?
this is not on the agenda for Monday.
Not on the agenda for
It's only the
Monday.
TSP.
Only
This isn't going to city council until August.
Oh, that's just transportation, isn't it?
And I won't be here in August, so. I will be in Utah.
So,
That's what wasn't clear. I saw that said we have a joint hearing on the city council, but
Yeah.
I assumed that this was gonna be presented Monday.
no,
They're
and I
gonna-
knew it
they're gonna
wasn't time for
To
that.
have time for whatever we tell them
Turn
we want
around.
to change.
Yeah.
Because not only do they have to hear what we say and then attempt to make it, they also have to run it through the lawyer to make sure that the legalese checks out.
That's true.
So do we want to go generic or do we want to go specific? What do you think?
I'm thinking generic.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, then I move to recommend approval of the proposed tangent development code text amendments set forth in attachments B and C as written, and attachment A with an included provision for temporary use exemptions.
I second that.
All those agree, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. As said. Yeah. 'Cause that's, I agree with you. We're gonna have something in there about temporary.
It does feel like if we start getting picky, we might end up,
Top until 10, yeah.
Well, it'd be what, weeks.
And just wanted to confirm, the motion was to attachment A with an included provision on temporary use exemption, B and C as written, correct?
That is correct.
that is correct.
You want me to read all this about the friendly adjournment? Friendly reminder, we have a joint hearing on City Council on Monday, July 13th, 6:30 PM. Saturday is the farmer's market. Anyone wants to join Joe in the city booth? He'll be there from 9 AM to 1 PM when the market closes. Also, please check out the completed mural on, I will add Kim's Cafe. Interesting note on the mural, you'll see it was established in 1871. 1871 was when the Willamette Valley Railroad, then Pacific Power, now Union Pacific, laid the tracks through the area. The town's name is a nod to the more than 20 miles of perfectly straight, curve-free railroad track running directly through it. In 1893, Tangent was established as a census-designated place, meaning a city without local government. In 1973, a municipality became. We are now adjourned. Guess I did have to say that. Thank you, Joe, for being with us tonight.
Not a problem. Thank you all for making it work today. Been a good conference. Got some exciting updates for the Planning Commission and everybody once I get back from this conference. So looking forward to returning back and seeing the mural in person too. And thank you. And thank you for Jennifer helping run the meeting tonight as well here at, there at City Hall.
All right.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you,
All
Joe.
right, bye, Joe.
Good night, everyone.